Segment of the show for today. The topic is child obesity and substance abuse, and we're talking to Alana McLaughlin, who has given us some information in reference to why young children become obese and how obesity in childhood can generally lead to obesity in adulthood. And so let's pick up where we left off dealing with childhood obesity. But more important, I think you also indicated that the second item that you wanted to talk about had to do with substance abuse. And so let's see if we can tie both these items together here and talk about substance abuse as well as child obesity.
Now, if you're first turning on your TV this morning and you happen to come across the show, in the first segment of the show, we talked about childhood obesity and some of the foods you shouldn't eat, some of the foods that you should. And now, in the second segment, which we are now, we would like to talk about substance abuse. Now, when you think of substance abuse, mainly what comes to mind is drugs. The little light bulb above your head blinks. But when you elaborate and go into the deep, deep world of drugs, what do you really think of? Now, off the top of my head, one of the most famous drugs that people like to use for unknown reasons would be methamphetamine, also known as ice, crystal, glass, whatever you want to call it. Now, methamphetamine is, also known as meth, is one of the worst drugs, one of the drugs that can kill you instantly. Now, these are one of the drugs that, well, you need to stay away from all drugs, really. But you really need to stay away from this one. Now, methamphetamine kills off your brain cells. All the symptoms, it's not even worth it. The symptoms are dizziness, consciousness, losing interest in school, start to hang out with kids who use drugs, lose interest in everything, can't focus, you just wonder all the time. You think, I want this, I want this. Every minute of your mind just goes on and on and on. Now, that's one of the drugs that other people use. Now, another drug is marijuana. And now, marijuana in some states is legal. Doctors prescribe it to certain people with certain illnesses, medical marijuana. But besides that, marijuana is illegal everywhere. So when you think of marijuana, it is one of the most common drugs, one of the cheapest. Marijuana does the same thing as meth, but it's not as strong as methamphetamine. It gives you hyper, but it can last from from 1 hour to 4. Methamphetamine lasts 6 to 12 hours. You see the difference? Now, marijuana, as I said earlier, isn't as bad as methamphetamine. But the thing is, you shouldn't use drugs, period. So it's the same concept, but just two different things. One's stronger, one's not. So basically, in my mind, you shouldn't use drugs, but some people, they have their own reasons to use it. I don't back them up because I don't think that they should use it because it only adds on to the problems that you already have. But there are other ways to relieve stress, like stress balls. You can buy them at Dollar General, anywhere. Now, stress balls, you squeeze them, and they relieve stress. I've had some. Punching bags, going out to the gym, punches that punching bag, it gets rid of all that stress. Now, you can get involved in other activities to take your mind off all your other problems, like out here in Nashville, there's a Lady Heat softball team at Hartman Park. And so, basically, yeah, there are so many ways to relieve stress. Drugs shouldn't be one of them.
Okay, and Lana, I think that for the most part, you've really started off with a drug that not many people are familiar with, even though I think it's one of the most abused, as you've indicated, substances that we have today, and it's one that's in the news most of the time. But there are several others that you could also mention as being what we consider to be legal drugs. And what are some of the legal drugs that we often talk about? Cigarettes and alcohol, for example. Now, what are the consequences of those two as drugs?
Alcohol. We've all heard of it. Now, when you drink alcohol, it supposedly takes your mind off problems, off life, etc. But think about this. Is a hangover worth it? When you wake up in the morning, dizziness, vomiting, nausea, all those things for one night of fun, would you rather hangovers or one night of fun? Everybody will pick one night of fun, but it's not worth it. You can have fun without cigarettes and drugs because they both kill you. They're like slow killers, like methamphetamine and marijuana, like drugs. There's so many ways to have fun without it, legal fun, basically. Going to the library is fun. Going to the Tennessee Performing Arts Center is fun. Going to the Tennessee State Museum is fun. Well, to me, but there's so many other ways to have fun. Just don't let illegal things be one of them. And now cigarettes and alcohol are legal, but you have to be over 18 to purchase cigarettes and over 21 to purchase alcohol. I think that they shouldn't be around, period, because how do they help? Cigarettes give you lung cancer, and alcohol gives you an alcohol problem. And once you have an alcohol problem, that's all you want to do, and you'll spend all your money on alcohol, and then you'll be broke, and then you'll get evicted from your house, and then you'll be homeless, and then your life just comes spiraling down. So is it really worth it?
Very good.
Is it really worth it?
And of course, Lana, we've got about a minute and 48 seconds here to go before this segment ends for the day. I mean, this segment ends. And we'll come back with a 10-minute segment after this. But that is some real information, I think, that you've given us in reference to substance abuse and childhood obesity. And I think that if we move into this last segment with an understanding that you would like to deal with substance abuse in terms of legal and illegal drugs and that aspect of that. And I think that if you are able to pull that together, you think you can bring us some additional information in reference to that?
Yes, I can.
And what kind of information can we? We've got about a minute before this segment ends.
Well, in the next segment, I plan to talk about how painkillers can be drugs, how any common household drug can be a drug. Dayquil, NyQuil, Zyrtec, these could all be used as drugs. And I also want to talk about how easy it is to get your hands on methamphetamine. If you can make chocolate chip cookies, you can make methamphetamine. And I want to change that. I want to stop that.
And you want more people to be aware of the fact that these are accessible.
That's why I'm on the show, to talk about this, to get people off of this crazy drug that kills people. Do you want to die for this? Do you want to die from this?
No, and of course, let's take this short commercial break, and we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break.